to my weekly messages. Today the topic is the issue of trust. Now we all have this desire to be able to have these deep, connected relationships that are very rich and very fulfilling, where we feel we can trust the other person not to abandon us, not to leave us holding the bag in situations, and we'll be respectful and loving. That is a great thing to want, but we have to develop that. So the issue of trust is very important in a relationship. Many years ago, a very good friend of mine, someone I adore deeply, Jonathan, made this statement. He said, it's not that you can't trust people. It's that you just have to learn what to trust them for. And what that meant was that you have to learn that you can trust people to act based on whether they have a fear in a situation or not. If they have a fear, they will act out of the fear. And you have to learn to accept that and act and respond accordingly. Here's an example. Two friends. They live together. One rents from the other one. The rentor, in this case, we'll say Denise and Jamie. Denise owns the house. Jamie rents from Denise. Now, Jamie has a job that she now realizes is not paying her rent. She just doesn't make enough. She's looking for another job, but everything she's qualified is only basically $10 an hour. Jamie's like in her 50s, so is Denise. And she, her brain works fine. I mean, she's in fairly good health. There's no reason why she can't learn new skills or go into a different area. So they've been discussing it, and Jamie does have background in serving tables, waitressing, and even at high-end restaurants like country clubs. So Denise realizes she could go into any number of the high-end restaurants in town and probably get a job and would make more money in tips than she would, doing what she's doing now at $10 an hour. And then in time, she can make enough money, put some money behind, and then be able to go back to school, maybe get some, office skills to where she can get into a different type of career and maybe make a little bit more. So that would be a good step for her. But it's been a year since this has begun, and what we've seen is that Jamie still is in the same position, and she's starting to go into debt. Now, using credit cards to make up the difference really can only work for so long, because at some point you're going to run out of credit. So their dilemma is that Denise looks upon Jamie as a friend and doesn't want to hurt Jamie but she also needs to be realistic about the situation. Jamie's afraid of making it on tips, even though she's done well in the past. And she's afraid to leave her current job in case she doesn't make it on tips in a new job. And even if she could make it on tips, she's afraid her brain won't function fast enough to work, in a restaurant of that nature. Well, so these are two fears that obviously are stopping her from changing careers and getting out of her situation. So now, they're close to the end of a lease that they have between them, and Denise needs to make a decision. Does she continue to rent to Jamie, knowing that eventually, if Jamie doesn't overcome these fears, she will end up running out of money, and then Denise will end up having to pay the rent? Or does she risk angering Jamie and possibly having Jamie end the friendship by saying, I'm going to rent to somebody else? So the reality is Jamie needs to be let go, because if Denise, going back to the saying, you have to learn what you can trust people for, and what you can trust them to do is act out of their fears. It's the writing's on the wall. Jamie has acted out of these fears for quite a while now. And so Denise needs to get real about the situation and quit letting the friendship cloud her judgment. So, In the long run, what would she do? Well, if she loved herself, if she was a good friend to herself, she would realize that if Jamie were a real friend, Jamie would not put her in that predicament. And therefore, she needs to let go and let Jamie go do whatever Jamie needs to do and rent the space to somebody else and risk losing the friendship. And she needs to realize that her lesson is the same as Jamie's, and that is learning to love herself enough to walk through a fear. In Denise's case, it is letting go of Jamie. In Jamie's case, it is risking, not being able to make enough money by switching careers. So, once again, it's a tough lesson. I think that most of us, especially those of us who are chronic rescuers, have to learn this lesson over and over again, that trust is not something that we should just blindly give, but allow people the opportunity to earn it and to be much more discerning about who we trust. And with things happening today as fast as they are and changes coming, all these fears are being triggered. So we're really having to learn where to discern and where to trust. And that is what an empowered individual does. They learn discernment. They learn that you don't just blanketly give trust. You let people earn it. Okay, that's it for today. And I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.